Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a foundation review. This is a new one from Burberry. It is called the Fresh Glow Gel Stick. This is a foundation and concealer in one. I am going to be wearing this throughout the day so you guys will see clips of how it wears. However, this is not the first time I've worn it. It's not a first impression, so I'm going to tell you guys about the product, how it wore, what I liked and what I disliked, and just insert the clips as I'm talking instead of having to kind of wait throughout the video. A little bit of info before I share my thoughts on this. It is a stick foundation. I got mine from Nordstrom. It retails for $48. It has 9 grams of product and 0.31 ounces. On the website, it says it's an innovative water-infused foundation and concealer that provides flawless, medium to high coverage with weightless wear. Its unique aloe vera and water-based gel formula releases encapsulated water on application to revitalize and hydrate the skin. It's also enriched with an optical diffuser for a natural radiant finish. First things first, I'm an NC20 in MAC. I got the shade number 12 and this is Ochre Nude. This does not match me at all. It is very pink. I don't know what shade would match me. I didn't get to go in and look, but this shade is not it. I was able to bring it down my neck and kind of just make everything look nice. And if you're looking at me, you're not going to think, oh, her foundation doesn't match. But this is not yellow and it's a little light as well. My skin type is combo. I get oily in my T-zone, especially on my pores, and then I'm normal to dry everywhere else. The first time I tried to apply this, I tried it with a sponge and absolutely did not work. I couldn't really move the product around the way I wanted it to, and it accentuated my pores and any dry spots so much. Usually if I use a brush, that's what happens, and a sponge counteracts it, but it was completely different. I have to use a brush to get the optimal result with this. And as far as the claim of it being medium to high coverage, absolutely not. This does not cover up pretty much anything. It evens me out, but yeah, it's not going to cover up an acne mark. It's not going to cover up any kind of scarring, anything. One thing I don't like about this is that even with the brush, it still shows a lot of texture on my skin. I've used my primer. I use MAC Skin Refine Zone and then the Tarte Smoothing Primer. And it just, I don't know if it's the brush because I'm having to buff it into the skin, but my pores just don't look their best. Whenever I go in with my Tarte Shape Tape and I put that underneath my eyes and on my nose, blending it out with a sponge, it definitely helps that. You can see like the difference when I added the concealer. And then when I applied the rest of my makeup, everything was much smoother. You can still see a little bit of texture, but way smoother when I first have my makeup done. Everything is really nice and fresh and the powder is on my skin. Today I'm not wearing a primer on the perimeter of my face, and I've noticed that the other times when I did wear a primer, it was a little smoother. It didn't catch as much in my pores with the brush, but it still did. It just looked a little bit better when I used a primer. One thing that I think is pretty neat about this is when you're applying it, it has this cooling sensation. So it feels really nice on the skin. I tried this as a concealer. It feels good underneath the eyes. If you don't need a lot of coverage, you might like it, but I find it to be kind of creasy and not enough coverage. My initial thought process when I got my makeup completely done, I was like, oh, I like it. You know, it was a little bit of a struggle to get it to work. I had to really work with this to make it look good. But after everything was said and done, I liked it. I thought that it looked nice and fresh. It looked really light on the skin. I didn't really feel it. So I was happy with it. Now, 2 to 3 hours in, you can already see so much texture on my skin, and I'm not happy about that. It really sinks into my pores. I start getting the lines right here in the makeup. The nose starts looking bad. I had even gone to Nordstrom and I saw one of my coworkers and she was like, what foundation do you have on? And I was like, is it good or bad? Because I'm doing a review. She goes, there's just a lot of texture on your cheeks. She goes, you know I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, no, I want to hear this because sometimes what I think about a foundation isn't necessarily what somebody else thinks about it on me. And so she definitely validated that it was not looking cute on my pores or my cheek area right here. At the 6-hour mark, absolutely not. Like, I wanted it off my skin. I felt very heavy. Like, initially I didn't feel anything at all, but it started to feel heavy where I get oily. So if you're oily, this is not going to feel nice on you. If you're dry, it might, because the cheek, the forehead, like the perimeter of my forehead, that area was fine. It was only around my nose, pores, chin, and I feel like right here that I started to feel like heavy, like too much moisture, like it was sitting on top of my skin. It didn't separate. It did a little bit around my nose and a little bit in my smile lines, but everywhere else it didn't move throughout the day. So that was nice, but 6 hours, I hated my makeup. And that same day that I had gone to Nordstrom, Puffin was like, hey, do you want to stop at such and such place? I was like, no, because my makeup looked so bad. I was like, I don't want even to be seen like this, because we had stretched to that 6 hours and I was like, I want to go home. I'm not necessarily sure who this would work for other than somebody who just has normal skin, because it does grab at those drier areas. It's a little bit more difficult to blend out. Not impossible, but it just takes a little bit more effort. But at the same note, I do feel that most stick foundations take a little bit of extra zhuzh. If you have pores and you're concerned about texture at all, I don't think I would suggest this, because even initially putting it on, you can see texture, and then throughout the day, it just gets worse and worse and worse. So if you weren't sure, yes, this item is a pass for me. I'm going to tell you my favorite one is the Vanish stick from Hourglass. Now this one technically is a little bit more expensive per gram. I think it's like $1 more expensive. This one's $46 and it only has 7 grams in there. But the thing with this is, it has a lot of coverage and you can either shear it down or build it up. And I feel like I'm just gonna run through this, because when I first put it on and I did like 1 or 2 stripes, and I blended it out, there was no coverage there at all. It's just gone. It just disappeared. So I feel like I have to really apply this in order to even get this light coverage. In case you're wondering what shade I am in the Vanish stick, I am in the shade Buff, and that does match pretty well for my NC20. All right, you guys, that is it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you've tried this, if you want to try it, or if you're like, oh, hell no. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.